Alrighty guys, welcome back to Tontin's Tactics. We are doing something a little bit different for the channel. We're still looking at DoorKickers 2. If you're unfamiliar with DoorKickers 2, it's an awesome top-down sort of tactical shooting game. I heard another YouTuber describe it as sort of like tactical problem solving, which is perfect. That's exactly what this is. In the game, there's a campaign where you run different missions and whatnot. Worth checking out. Tons of videos on it. I've got a couple. Controlled Pairs has some awesome stuff. Karma Cut, awesome videos. Check it out. This is a little bit different. The whole intention of sort of my channel was to use DoorKickers as a visual aid for learning tactics and getting people that have an interest in CQB or anything like that, giving them a visual aid to sort of learn some tactics and skills, that other people, put out. This is all available on the internet, but I wanted to sort of condense it. One of the audiences that I wanted to get into was sort of your more casual or slightly above casual Airsoft or Gelsoft players, right? Guys that are interested in, shooting sports that want to get a little bit better. So that's what we're doing. This video is all about trying to put some sort of general tactics in a fun way into games that you're playing to try and make you or your team a little bit better and have a more enjoyable experience. Now, as I mentioned, Airsoft or Gelsoft, Australia, the land down under, thinks Airsoft is a little too scary, so we shoot little water gels instead, little gel balls. If you're local to me in southeast Queensland, you're probably familiar with the field that I have recreated here for you. It's not perfect, I get that, but it's pretty close. It's a pretty good guesstimation of the field and sort of what's there. So if you know the field, this is particularly helpful to you, but there's a couple of tips and tricks that should help anyone anywhere. So guys, without further ado, let's jump into it. There are a number of hostiles in here. We have a team of 8. I think we're up against, I think it's 32 from memory. When I made the map, there's 32 bad guys spread out with varying experience on varying difficulties and whatnot. So what we're going to do, the things we're looking at is sort of individual skills, which you're mainly going to see sort of up in this area here, which if it's going to let me, there we go, which you're mainly going to see up in this area here, because what the plan is, I want to show you angles, sectors of fire, and whatnot. So we're going to have static pairs in sort of this general area, okay, and the reason for that is they're going to have angles to lock down, certain aspects of, in this case, the field, right? While we have another team pushing through up the top and then down using sort of single man, 2-man, 4-man CQB tactics, clearing this area. We'll get into that. So keep an eye out for those sort of things. That's what we're focused on. We're looking at teamwork as well as individual skills. So the teamwork, like I said, mainly happening through here. Individual skills will be happening through the buildings. All right, so let's jump in. Hope you guys enjoy. Hope you get something from it. Hope it makes your next game experience a little bit better, a little more interesting, a little more exciting. So let's have a look. Let's see how this plans out. So what we've got, we've split up into our 2 teams of 4. We're going to bounce across this. So you can see here, we bounce across. We get good security in here. So we've locked down this entry point, which sort of opens us up to a flank, so we've locked that down. We're starting to get our first engagements. So, got these guys moving up the hallway. They're establishing the first sort of lane of fire. This is called sort of sectioning off an area. So the whole idea is, if you've got an element such as this element up here, coming through and trying to clear a building, what you don't want is reinforcements from this unknown space. So everything in this light blue color is unknown. Reinforcements in this unknown space flowing through and reinforcing through, these sort of back doors here, anyone in this building. So we're locking that down with this element. So this lane of fire makes it impossible for enemy to cross and reinforce up here. but it's always a little bit messy to begin with because you're trying to get multiple elements into that position. Once it's established, you'll see it works out a little bit easier. So we've got those initial engagements, targets of opportunity. We're establishing that sector of fire. So you can see here, we've got Delta right here, locking down this space. We've got Hollywood locking down through here. We've got a Rifleman 1 and a Rifleman 2 locking down as well as these guys creating a lane across. So we're getting that sort of good L-shaped pattern. These guys are going to start to do work as they lock down that room. We've already seen enemy trying to, or opposition, trying to flow through and flank, which is where we've cut them off. And we suffered our first casualty. Guys, corners like this, always tough. If someone's waiting in that corner, no bueno. No, you're not going to win that fight. It's pretty hard to win that fight, particularly in sort of a U-shaped corridor like this where you can't, you know, run the rabbit and run right past and distract them while your number 2 men cleans it up. It's not going to happen. That's why we flow through with 2. That's why we go in a pair. In the end, our number 2 men had to clean this up, which is unfortunate. We lost someone, but, you know, go back to respawn, come back. Alrighty. We're going to let that develop a little bit. Here we go. They're still doing work. We're going to now give him a new buddy. So we're giving him Rifleman from Fire Team 2. This is from another video, which you can go and find why they're named the way they are. And we're just going to leave the Rifleman from Fire Team 1 set up on that lane of security, which you can see here. Alrighty. We'll let that develop a little bit. We're establishing a cleaner lane. He's doing work, these guys doing work. We're now pushing in to take a more dominant position in this room. Because we can, and why not? And moving up, there we go. So now we're expanding this. We still have a lot of dead space. So we need to establish particularly this line here, because we don't want anyone in this space here coming up. We've got this space pretty well sectioned off with him. So we're not getting anyone flowing across here, and we're trying to avoid people flowing across here or up here. So that's what these guys are doing now. Engagements, it's good. We're trying to thin the herd out a little bit. This is running the rabbit. So running the rabbit is when one person commits to sprinting to essentially cause a distraction. You can either shoot on the move while you do that, but generally speaking, you would just run. And then that gives the person behind you a chance to do something safely. Speed and surprise are in your favor. Once he's in that cover, we get him to come back and establish a position. And now he can engage. We've got pretty good cross coverage here. Frees him up to move with some security. Got those lanes working for us. Hold behind the car with some cover. Get in. Okay. This is where I've let myself down a little bit. We have lost the angle across here. Means these guys are now exposed to flanks. Something to bear in mind. No run's going to be perfect. But that's sort of the position we put ourselves in. This is kind of unavoidable. This is a huge angle. So we were getting shot at from somewhere down in here. I'm not sure if it was in this building or in this corner. So we're maneuvering to try and get angles a little bit further down. These guys are in cover now. They're pretty well protected. Obviously, he's been hit, so in-game respawn. We can kind of keep pushing forward. Clearing through. So, final point. We've got these guys locked down. These guys doing pretty good work. Again, I would have liked to have kept that. We've got him maneuvering as well, so he's going to have good angles down into this space. So we're going to ignore these 5 guys for a second, and we're going to come in and have a little look at the tactics going on in here. All right, they're doing work. Ignore them. We're going to move up. First things first, number 1 man has decided that he's going to flow straight through. And number 2 is going to take that corner. because this was unknown space, it probably would have been a little bit smarter for the first man to come around and button hook straight away and get eyes, and then number 2 man could cross over. Alas, didn't work out that way, but we're still okay. Now, what we're doing here, we're keeping 1 man locked onto this doorway while another player opens the door. So the moment that door swings open, he's got shots and he can engage. We've got our door opener off to the side, so he's not interfering with any shots that he may have. As it turns out, it's clear, but that's a good tactic to keep in mind. These guys are still doing work. There we go. That cross coverage is working quite nicely. These guys are going through and clearing as much dead space as they can. Now, we've cleared that corner. Want to make sure that that was okay before we push through. Just because of angles through here, we're not going to cross that threshold. We're going to go back the way we came. Okay. Moving on up. Check as we cross. There we go. Another target opened up for both of us, but this guy managed to take it out. Trying to maneuver, get a better angle once we're here. We got lit up from this corner again, so we're going to pause there. We're going to get him to halt and try and get some effective shots off if we can. This is a good point. Okay, guys, huge open angles. Okay, if you've been to this field, this isn't exactly how it lines up, but in a field that you come across, you need to be aware of very deep angles. And the possibility of getting shot, because these guys are very focused on this structure, okay, not this open threshold and what's going on in this huge space down the end. Okay, so be mindful of sort of tunnel vision and not just focusing on what you think is right in front of you. Instead, you got to keep those eyes open. Alrighty. Now we make a mistake here. I only saw the guy going up get engaged, not at the bottom. So I thought it was safe to maneuver him while we got these guys into a proper fire position to try and cover them. Not the case. There are angles and splat. He got hit. We managed to take him out as well, but alas, we did lose another one there. So we got slow shots trying to get those long hits. This is a very long shot, especially for a gel blaster. Airsoft, you're all good. Gel blasters only have like an effective range of something stupid like 30 or 40 meters, and then they just sort of go all wonky, and good luck. Okay, gonna keep that locked down. Again, this space is locked down. We're going to ignore it. The next move I would make on this position is, and you'll see it come up, we'll move him further forward and take up a position here. So these guys are somewhat in a line. But again, I'm going to come down. We're going to zoom in on single man tactics through here. All right. Moving slowly, focusing on, you can see here I've given him the command to focus right on this point of the building. That's called the apex. By focusing on the apex, you can limit your exposure, so you're less likely to get hit. We're going to clear that. We're going to go deep, creating standoff. Standoff is basically distance is your friend if you've got the equipment to handle it and you're accurate enough. You can basically, if you think you're more accurate than the person you're fighting or playing against, then increase your standoff. If you don't, decrease it, close the gap, and employ your your tools as effectively as possible. All right, for this though, we can create the standoff. There we go. Limited exposure, taking it nice and slow, and that's our last engagement. You can see here the plan would have been, let's go back, would have been, what are you doing to me? There we go. To come in, we've cleared a lot of this room. We now focus on the new apex of the threshold, this being a threshold, the doorway, and you cut across. Okay, so you start, where is it? You start slicing this room as you go along, seeing a little bit at a time. And then we would have continued to flow through. But alas, we got everyone. So, speaking of everyone, how many was it? Yep, 32. Did lose 2 units. But that's the principle, guys. We've got single man tactics. I've done a couple of videos exploring that in this game, looking at different people's philosophies. If you want to check that out and improve your individual skills, definitely do that. But also general teamwork. So although these guys here didn't really move much, they were very effective and avoided a whole flank. So next time you're playing, guys, if you're playing with a group of buddies, maybe delegate, maybe split up, get them to lock down an area that you know has a high likelihood of enemies flanking through. You know, it may get you to that objective a little bit quicker. It may win the game. You may have some pretty cool stories to tell. Alrighty, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget, hit that like, comment, subscribe button if you're interested in the content. And I will catch you all later. Tontin Tactics out.